Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here, or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, please do so, along with the thumbs ups and drop your comments. Love the comments. All right, well, the New York Knicks are coming home 1-4 from the West Coast road trip that they actually could have been coming home 4-1. Definitely could have been 3-2. That's right. After giving up a 21-point lead to the Lakers, they gave up a 23-point lead to the Portland Trail Blazers to lose 112-103. The Knicks had scored 92 points in 3 quarters and proceeded to just cave in. I don't know if it's a choke or they just hit a wall, but they could only score 11 points in that fourth quarter and allowed 35. After scoring 39 points themselves in the third quarter. Yeah. Here, look at the game flow. Look at that. Right there in the third quarter at the for the last 17 minutes of the game, the Knicks were outscored 53-21. In fact, they had a 23-point lead, and they allowed the Portland Trail Blazers to close that deficit down to about 15 points at the end of the third quarter. And I think that gave them a sense that they might be able to pull this thing out. Now, it's a young team. It's they're hungry. I mean, they want victories. They just actually they beat the hell out of the Lakers not that long ago. So they weren't going to just stop playing for us like the way we did. We just stopped playing in that fourth quarter. And for some reason, Kemba was in the fourth quarter. Here, look, this is the third quarter. This is just the third quarter stats. 39 points we scored. Quentin Grimes was phenomenal in that third quarter. 4 of 5 from behind the arc. And though, look, only 2 of 5 free throws. It's a weird thing. It's weird to think that he can shoot lights out from behind the arc, even 2-3 feet behind it, and he can miss free throws like that. But anyway, he provided 14 points in that third quarter. Julius, 10 points. And Kemba woke up in that third quarter. He hit 2 of 3 from behind the arc, 3 of 4 overall, 10 points. He did 1 assist. In that quarter, we had 9 assists in that quarter. The ball was moving. And when you make buckets, you're going to get assists, of course. Hit 50% of our three-pointers, 55% overall. But look at the minutes. I want you to look at the minutes for Grimes. Yep, and look at the minutes for Julius. 12 minutes. What was the point of playing those two 12 the entire quarter when we had a 23-point lead at one point? And even still, by the end of the third quarter, it was a 15-point lead, which should be a substantial enough lead to win in this league. I mean, these are professional players, right? Randall is a second-team All-NBA. He's been balling lately. I mean, he actually had a nice game, 28 points, 12 of 13 from the free throw line. He's been hitting his free throws. So, but look at the rebounds for Mitch. 0. Mitch had 0 rebounds in this game. Yep. I think that's the first time all season that's happened. He was hobbled. He hurt his foot. He went out of the game, then he came back in. He just wasn't himself, so Taj got a lot of minutes. Sims got a little bit of a look, but, not enough. And then, again, the 12 minutes. And then Kemba played almost 9 minutes himself, and same with Fournier. Look at Fournier, 0 for 4 in that third. Now, look at the fourth quarter. Here we go. Grimes played almost 10 minutes in the fourth quarter, so think about that. Think about how much time he played. He did not get 1 attempt. Yep, not 1 single attempt. However, Fournier had 3 attempts, which he whiffed. Kemba had 3 attempts, which he whiffed. And Burks, 1 of 5. Burks was the point guard towards the end, and he was walking the ball up. I mean, he was in slow motion, almost like he was trying to kill the clock. And for what purpose? What were you guys? Play your game. I mean, why? I don't understand why a team can build a 23-point lead playing with ball movement, cutting, proper spacing. They're hustling, playing a good defense, and then they just stop. Well, it could be because the starters ran out of juice. Yep. This is what Thibs did. In the fourth quarter, at the 9:51 mark, I believe he called a timeout, and he subbed back in Grimes, Fournier, Kemba, and Julius. And the score was 94-84. So the lead had been chopped by 13 points, down to just a 10-point lead. And he brought the starters in. Now I'm wondering, Thibs is probably thinking, okay, I'll bring the starters in, and we can stop the bleeding, and hopefully I can bring some of the bench back in, because the starters are going to get tired. Instead, he kind of went the whole way with the starters. And at the with about 4.5 minutes left, he brought Burks back in place of Kemba. And at that point, we were finally had given up the lead. It was 99-98. Portland was winning. And that's it. The Knicks only scored 5 points for the rest of the game. It's a total collapse. Now, where was Deuce McBride? You're probably wondering. I'm wondering too. Yes, this is truly, honestly, if you saw the game, you know the pain. If you didn't see the game, you're reading about it, or you're watching this, you are probably feeling relieved that you didn't watch this game. But it was brutal. That was a brutal final 17 minutes of basketball to a Portland team that just traded away C.J. McCollum and Norman Powell and Robert Covington. Anthony Simons is the real deal, but he was not having a great game until that late second half. Here we go. You can see Julius had 16 rebounds, but we were out-rebounded 51-41. So that really hurt us badly. Julius, 28 points, 6 assists, 16 rebounds, missed all 4 of his three-point attempts. Overall, we shot only 12 of 39, 30.8% for the three-point line. We went ice cold. And Evan Fournier, who has been on fire from the three-point line, 1 of 10 tonight. 1 of 13 overall. This team missed so many easy buckets as well. Obi missed a shot that was like a foot away from the basket. I don't know how he missed it. Maybe it was 3 feet away, whatever. I don't understand how he missed it. Grimes also missed an easy one, even though he did have a fantastic game overall. He scored 20 points, 6 of 10, 5 of 8 from behind the arc. Yeah, he played a great game. We had 3 guys with 20 or more points, and we still lost this game. The bench was just a big disappointment tonight. A big disappointment. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked looking at these stats here. 19 assists. That's what we had, 19, and 9 of those were in that third quarter. So the other 3 quarters, we only had 10 assists. Ha! I bet in that fourth quarter, we probably only had, in fact, let me go back and look at that. Just want to make sure. In the fourth quarter, we had 1 assist. 1 assist. But why? Why was Fournier jacking up three-point shot? I don't mind so much Fournier because we've seen him be ice cold for 3 quarters, and then suddenly he'll hit that big three-pointer in the clutch in the fourth quarter. So I don't mind that much, but come on. You couldn't get Quentin Grimes, who was just on fire in that third quarter? You couldn't get him the ball? You couldn't set some screens for him? You couldn't run some plays for him? This is incredibly disappointing. The other thing, not only did Mitch have to leave the game, and that hurt us because it left the paint wide open, because, Taj is not a paint intimidator. He's not a shot blocker. And they just started, literally, they were driving for easy layups, one right after the other. It was almost like Kemba was a ghost, and they could just go right through him. You could just see the dust, the ghost particles swirling around. Easy. He's if he's not hitting buckets, he's a total liability. But he played almost 9 minutes in that crucial fourth quarter. No deuce. And I get it. I get being hesitant to bring IQ back in the game. IQ overall, he played 11 minutes. He shot 1 of 6, 4 points. I believe that was, 2 free throws he hit. no assists, but we don't have any other options. You couldn't. Sticking with Kemba was a total mistake. Like, he wasn't pushing it. He wasn't running an offense. And then, of course, that's when they switched him out and they brought Burks in. But I would have gone with IQ. But because at least IQ, he keeps the pace, the tempo up. And that's what happened. The pace was very active in the first half and in that third quarter before the collapse. And then once they kind of like downshifted, they could never kick it back into the higher gear. And they got blown out in reality. Got blown out in those last 17 minutes. They lost the last 17 minutes by 32 points. Yeah. Wow. Cam Reddish had a nice first half. He's interesting. He's a really interesting player. He made a beautiful steal and led to a dunk. And then, of course, Thibs subbed him right out. And then next time we saw him was in the second half, and he tweaked his ankle, so he left the game. So there was no Mitch for the fourth quarter, no Cam for the fourth quarter. And if any game confirms that the New York Knicks need RJ Barrett, it was this game. This is the kind of game that RJ takes over that fourth quarter when the opponent is trying to make a run and RJ shuts it down. We've seen him do it several times. Sometimes all it is he'll string a couple of buckets together, and then his teammates start, gathering themselves and become more focused, and they stop the bleeding. But he wasn't there tonight. No one stepped up in that role tonight. And maybe Cam could have if he didn't get hurt. This is going to be a bad flight back for these Knicks. Can you imagine having to take that cross-country flight all the way from Portland, Oregon, back to New York after a loss like this, after giving up 2 20-plus leads on this road trip? And they had a chance to win that Utah game. The Denver game, no. They never had a chance for that. This is really... honestly, Obi Toppin. Look, Obi Toppin was a total non-factor. 0 for 2, played 8 minutes. Sims did not have 1 rebound. He looks almost like... what's funny, he's so quiet, his demeanor. He's just... I don't ever see anyone talking to him on the team. Not sure what's going on there, but maybe I'm overreading into it. I hope not. Taj had a nice game, but he's not an enforcer. He's not a true 5, and we felt it. And then guess who else wasn't around to play? Nerlens Noel. The roster is so flawed right now and compromised by injuries that we have to get lucky to get wins, like the other night against Golden State. That was fun. Imagine that. We beat the one team that we had we were least likeliest to beat, and then lost to the Lakers a week ago. God, that was a brutal game in overtime, and then now this. Let's see what else I want to look at here. Quickly was a -10. Quickly's been a huge disappointment. I would say, I haven't pulled up the numbers or whatever, but I would say it's been about a month or more. I mean, he wasn't doing that great before either, but he has been... Oh, here we go. Emmanuel Quickley, the last 4 games, not including... I think this was actually from before the Golden State game. Yeah, this was before the Golden State game. So the 4 games before that, so the game right before they went on the road trip to LA. Counting that, Quickley is averaging only 5.5 points per game, 3.5 assists, 1.5 turnovers. He's shooting 23.1% from the field. 23.1%. From the 3-point line, he's shooting 21.4%. Now, for the season, actually, for the 12 games previous to that, so from January 6th to January 28th, those 12 games, he shot 37.7%, which is nothing great, but at least it's something. It's a it's pretty much in line with league averages. He's totally cratered. And it hurt, and it really, really hurts. He went from a plus minus of a 2.8. Now he's a plus minus of a minus 3.3. So our backup point guard has been trash lately. He looks lost. Kemba had been looking like trash most of the time. But tonight he finally had a nice breakout game, 23 points. But he's just, defensively, he's just such... Oh, yeah, I mean, I can't even... And Tom Thibodeau is a defensive, wizard. Crazy. Look at this. The Trailblazers had 5 players in double-digit points. Simons went off for 30 points, 6 of 12 from behind the arc. Yeah, they were getting easy open three-point looks in that fourth quarter. Nurkic would get it down in the paint, and he'd just kick it out to the open guy, and we didn't close out sharp enough and hard enough. It was just sloppy. I feel like the Knicks thought, oh, we've got this game won in that third quarter around, the 4-something mark. They thought they had it won. And they just stopped. That's it. And then the Trailblazers just came. I mean, they were like a runaway train, just steamrolling down the tracks on these Knicks, and they had no response whatsoever. You can see here they shot 47.6%, and we shot 38.3%, 37.5% from three-point line. We shot 30%. We did actually do well getting to the free throw line. Did I say free throw line before? I meant three-point line. Free throw line, we hit 29 of 34. And like I mentioned before, Randall was outstanding with that. But look at the rebounds. We lost that battle by 10. Assists, they had 29 assists. We had 19, so we lost that by 10. The steals, actually won that battle for some, shockingly. Turnovers, they did commit more turnovers. That was one of the reasons how the Knicks were able to build that lead. Fast break points, pretty much even, but the points in the paint was a total disaster, and that's why, because Mitch Robinson only had 2 points in the game, 1 bucket. We really missed him. We really missed him tremendously. God, I can't believe that we lost this game. And Thibs, he actually caused this loss. He played RJ when he didn't need to play him in that fourth quarter, and then he got hurt. If we had RJ for this game, we probably would have won this game. This one's on you, Thibs, and the players too. It's a full team collapse, as it says right there. Catastrophic second half collapse cost Knicks the game after a 23-point lead. What more needs to be said? The Knicks are now 25-32, 7 games under 500. They are 11.5 games back. 2 games back from 10th place, the Atlanta Hawks. Things are not looking good. Things are not looking good for these Knicks. Now we come on, we play the Thunder. We should win that game, but who knows anymore? I mean, who's to say anymore? We should, but there's no guarantees. Then the next game is the next team play. Oh, the Nets. Oh, and the Nets now. I wonder if they're gonna have Simmons playing, but either way, that's still gonna. I mean, the Nets have been. They've lost 10 in a row. For all we know, they're gonna break their streak with us. No, we can't let that happen. Cannot let that happen. Gotta wake up, Knicks. Sleep on the plane. Get back to business. Share the ball. Hustle. Defend. Get rebounds. Come on. The game is not that complicated. If you can build a 23-point lead, you can win a game. All right. Thank you guys for watching this. My name is George. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs ups, and drop your comments. And I will see you around down the Knicks-Verse!